Thank you all for having me tonight. I'm really here for a reason. I can't find the right words to express what this opportunity means to me, but I'm so humbled to be here with you all tonight. I've been the brunt of one of my favorite colleagues' jokes lately because I've been a little bit active on Zoom recently. However, I would not have missed this one. I feel strongly that I'm here for a reason. I was meant to be here with you all tonight to celebrate these wonderful student success stories and to applaud all of you advocating for our state's most vulnerable youth in this most challenging of years. I am meant to be here with you to stand alongside all of you as we all are fighting for systemic reforms that will hopefully end racial injustice and advance educational equity in our state. As a former professional basketball player, I have always cherished this position of privilege and this platform we are afforded. And now, as a member of an organization choosing to fight for social justice and racial equity in our community, I am even more cognizant of our collective responsibility. That responsibility begins with acknowledging that in Massachusetts, Black youth are 9 times more likely to be incarcerated than white youth, 9 times more likely. Latinx youth are 6.5 times more likely. That disparity between white and Latinx kids is the worst in the nation. The statistics on school exclusion are equally stark. Black boys with disability are 17 times more likely to be suspended than non-disabled white girls for the same behavior. Once a student is excluded from school for even one day, they are 3 times more likely to drop out. And kids who drop out are 3 times more likely to end up in adult prison. Just let those numbers sit with you for a moment. For those of you who know me, you'll know that I'm no authority on the school to prison pipeline. In fact, I heard the phrase for the first time in one of my many conversations with YAF board president and founder, Josh Doan, as he spent many hours serving as a consultant to our organization's social justice initiative. Hence, to gain orientation on how to lead this conversation tonight, I consulted a couple of real-life experts, deeply steeped in parent-teacher conferences, school suspensions, expulsions, court-appointed attorneys, probation, incarceration, and a whole lot of agony and pain, my mother and younger brother. So when I say I'm here for a reason, it's to share that while I was unfamiliar with the term school to prison pipeline, my family and I are all too familiar because of my brother's experience within it. And while I may not be able to find the right words to express what this opportunity means to me, I can share what my brother's words were when I told him I'd join you all tonight. Relief and gratitude. Relief and gratitude that his decades-long journey through the fire, his real-life journey down the school to prison pipeline, is serving a purpose and is not in vain. My baby brother, younger than I am by 1 year, is in his 20-something year of incarceration, likely over half his life spent behind bars. And while he may have ended up there anyway, I can say with relative certainty, he didn't get the resources and support he needed to help divert his path. First, a little bit of family background. My mom raised me and my 4 siblings largely on her own. She officially became a single parent when my younger brother and I were in the 4th and 5th grades, respectively. She hustled, struggled, worked so hard to provide for our family, always held a full-time job, sometimes 2 jobs, and eventually started taking night classes to complete her college degree. It was then, she shared with me, that as I was tested into gifted and talented classes, my brother began to increasingly show signs of behavior issues that weren't properly addressed. These behavior issues were characterized by not being able to sit still in the classroom of 20 plus other students, or by talking when he wasn't supposed to be talking, or by not doing his schoolwork and homework. Issues not too egregious for a highly intelligent, energetic boy. As the months and years went by, however, it became clear that he needed professional help and other resources. So as I was racking up athletic accolades and straight A's, his underlying problems were exacerbated by other circumstances, and he quickly became disengaged, and it's not too difficult to fill in the rest. If you were to do a side-by-side comparison of me and my brother, the differences between us are immediately quite obvious. For example, on the basketball court, his style of play was always so smooth, always just extra smooth, much smoother than what he thought he was. He would always try to emulate some NBA star's ball handling, yet for me, his style would lull one to sleep. I, on the other hand, was a self-proclaimed savage, always in motion, always annoyingly relentless on the court. Our differences in the classroom, in grades and behavior, were probably the starkest. I was a straight-A student with little to no disciplinary infractions throughout my entire secondary scholastic career. He, on the other hand, from as early as the fourth grade, would struggle in class, couldn't pay attention or sit still, and his teachers would say he wouldn't stop talking. I would finish my high school career as top student and athlete in my class. My brother, on the other hand, would be repeatedly suspended throughout his secondary schooling, expelled from one high school due to behavioral infractions, and would drop out of another when a teacher slapped him in the face for a comment the teacher deemed disrespectful. I could go on and on about our differences, but it wasn't until this past week on one of our weekly phone calls from his Tennessee State Correctional Facility that my brother helped me realize we actually share one important similarity. We both believe the seemingly impossible is possible. We just happened to be talking about our Celtics team and how I still believe, despite having had to play the Wizards in the play-in round, and despite having to face second seed Brooklyn in the first round, our team could and will do the seemingly impossible and pull off an upset in the NBA playoffs. To my brother, this made perfect sense because I or one of my teams had done the seemingly impossible in the face of extreme adversity many times over. I'd won an important game with my teammates, helped my team pull off a major upset, and even landed a job at one of the most respected and successful sports franchises in history. As we rehashed some of my accomplishments, he suddenly got quiet and uttered in his strong Southern accent, "Man, I'm pretty much an underdog myself. I'm going to have to pull off an upset when I get out." We laughed a bit as he said this, but unfortunately it dawned on me, he's right. The chips are stacked against him. He's a recidivist with multiple felony convictions, and he'll have to pull off the greatest upset in his life to succeed, however he wants to define success. It's been 20 plus years since he was finally expelled from school in the 11th grade. 20 plus years since he was first sentenced for a petty drug offense to a maximum security adult prison as a teenager. 20 plus years of his 44 years on earth spent behind bars. In closing, during the 20 plus years my brother has been behind bars, I personally have checked off many a milestone and notched many personal wins along the way. Yet each celebration has been really bittersweet for us. It's so hard not imagining what his life would have been had he gotten the educational and emotional resources he needed when he was most vulnerable. My brother did not choose to fail in school. I believe his schools and the system failed him. Sometimes when I hear people talk about kids of color struggling in school, they have the attitude that their parents don't care. My mother cared. It tore her apart to watch how my brother suffered as he was sitting in classrooms that were not meeting his needs, getting suspended, expelled, and even physically assaulted by teachers. As I was lauded with praise growing up, my brother was told, on the other hand, he was bad, and if he didn't change, he'd end up in jail or worse. Ultimately, our family needed an expert and a zealous advocate, someone who would partner with us to insist that the school meet my brother's needs and provide him with a true opportunity to learn, grow, and check off his own milestones and notch his own personal wins. Thankfully for my brother, though, he may soon get a chance to do the seemingly impossible. He comes up for parole later this year, and with a little luck, he may just emerge from that pipeline, finally. Personally, I'm relieved and grateful that this time around, I will be there to make sure he has the resources he needs to greatly reduce the gap between the seemingly impossible and the possible. Thank you.
No, thank you, Allison. Thank you. Sincerely, you use the phrase "relieved and grateful." I'm relieved and grateful that you shared your vulnerability, the vulnerability of your story and your brother's story with us, because it just allows us to be more vulnerable with our own stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so true. It's it's not easy, and I think a lot of people associate incarceration with shame, but it's such a major part of the lives of many people of color in this country. As you see in Massachusetts, those numbers are staggering. How many lives incarceration touches. So I'm just happy that we're in a space where learning more, lights are being shined on all these issues. So we're just trying to do our part here.
I hear that bit by bit, right? I have a goofy question for you.
Okay.
What is it more difficult being a boss on the basketball field or being the boss bossing around the basketball player?
You know what, Delon, you're showing your knowledge of the game. We're on the court. We're on the court. But it's much easier to be a professional athlete. I think the body really takes a toll. It really takes a toll on the body, playing so many years. On the other hand, on the court, being able to engage with people and learn from our guys, especially, is really easy, really a piece of cake. So I'm super thankful to be in the space now.
Amazing. I also have to extend an apology about misplacing where you were drafted. I got so excited. I saw 17 years. I said she was the president. She was Lisa. She was a movie star. I just got so excited. So I apologize.
No worries. I started to claim it and just let it. First time I've been called the top draft pick, so that was my moment. But thank you so much for pointing that out.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you, Allison.
Thank you.